They buried him alive for 7 days. But when he came back, no one was ready for what happened next. This is the story of Ricky, the most dangerous prisoner alive. The story begins with a police van carrying prisoners toward a brutal facility hidden deep inside China, a place reserved only for the most dangerous criminals. Inside these walls, weakness is a death sentence, and survival depends on strength alone. Among the new arrivals is Ricky, a quiet 21-year-old who has been sentenced to 10 years for taking a man's life, though his punishment has been reduced to 5 because of his age. As he steps forward and walks through the metal detector, a sharp red alert suddenly echoes through the hall, immediately drawing the attention of the guards. They stop him and begin searching him thoroughly, but find nothing unusual. Still, the machine refuses to stay silent, repeating the warning again and again. Confused and suspicious, they drag him to an X-ray machine, determined to uncover the truth. When the scan appears, the room falls silent. Inside Ricky's chest, 5 bullets are clearly embedded. Yet he stands there without pain, without fear, as if his body has accepted them. When questioned, Ricky calmly explains that the bullets are not harming him, but instead strengthening him, acting as a source of power within his body. As he is taken deeper into the prison, its true nature is revealed. The facility is divided into 4 blocks, each ruled by a ruthless leader who controls everything within their territory. In one of these blocks, a cruel enforcer named Samuel begins asserting his dominance by attacking an elderly prisoner named Wing, a man who has spent his entire life inside these walls. Wing pleads softly, explaining that he only wishes to leave one day, holding tightly to a small toy he made for his son with great effort. But Samuel shows no mercy. He snatches the toy and smashes it against Wing's head, sending him collapsing to the ground as it breaks into pieces, then strikes him again as he writhes in pain. Even when a guard arrives, instead of stopping the cruelty, he orders them to continue, before walking away. As Samuel walks forward proudly with his men, Ricky suddenly steps into his path and delivers a single devastating kick that sends him crashing onto sharp wooden nails scattered on the ground, tearing through his face and leaving him broken. His followers rush forward, ready to attack, but the moment Ricky lifts his eyes and looks at them, fear replaces their anger, and they step back. Samuel somehow survives, but one of his eyes is destroyed, and a deep fire of revenge begins burning inside him. He swears to end Ricky at any cost, and his men suggest bringing in Mad Dragon, the most dangerous prisoner in the entire facility. A man feared by everyone and capable of destroying anyone who stands in his way. At the same time, Samuel manipulates the guards to extend Wing's sentence by 20 more years. When the guard delivers the news, the old man is shattered. Knowing he will never leave this place alive, he falls to his knees, begging for freedom. But the guards push him away and leave him helpless. Before he can spend the rest of his life suffering like this, that very night, he ends it by himself. The news spreads across the prison, and when Ricky hears it, he realizes the man whose life he once saved is now gone. As the guards carry his lifeless body away, Ricky steps forward. His eyes fix on the handcuffs still locked around Wing's wrist, and he calmly asks the guards to remove them because a dead man deserves freedom. When they ignore him, Ricky silently reaches forward and snaps the handcuffs apart with terrifying ease. The guards freeze in shock, unable to believe what they just saw. Ricky then takes out the same small toy Samuel had once broken, the one he carefully fixed himself. But seeing Wing die ignites something deeper inside Ricky. Unable to contain the storm of anger building inside him, Ricky walks out into the raging wind and begins practicing kung fu, releasing the pain and fury that burns within him. Ricky quickly realizes that if he wants to survive in this place, he will have to fight every single day. Otherwise, his fate will be no different from the old man's. The next morning, as the prisoners gather to bathe, the tension in the air grows heavy. Samuel arrives and stares at Ricky, his hatred clear. And at that moment, Mad Dragon finally appears. Without hesitation, he throws a powerful punch toward Ricky. The fight begins instantly. Without hesitation, he strikes back with a devastating punch to Mad Dragon's stomach, tearing through him from the inside and killing him instantly. The entire place falls silent in shock. A nail is driven into Ricky's hand, but in response, Ricky crushes his opponent's fingers as if they were nothing. And in that moment, it becomes clear. This is not just another fight. This is the beginning of Ricky's revenge. With one final strike, Ricky's punch tears straight through Samuel's body, ending him on the spot. The prisoners standing nearby freeze in shock, their minds unable to process what they just witnessed. Even the guards rush in immediately, dragging Ricky away as whispers of fear begin spreading across the prison. At that moment, Narumi, the leader of the North Bloc, steps forward. He had come to intimidate Ricky, to show him who truly holds power here. But the moment he sees what Ricky has done, his confidence shifts. Instead of threatening him, he offers something unexpected. asking Ricky to join him, to stand by his side. But Ricky says nothing and simply walks past him, leaving Narumi standing there unsettled for the first time. Ricky is then thrown into a high-security cell, the same place where only the most dangerous prisoners are kept, the kind of place where even survival feels uncertain. As the heavy door shuts behind him, a sudden pain rises from his chest, pulling him into memories from the past. We see him as a young student standing before his mother's grave, alone in the world after losing his parents. There, his master, Jong, appears, the man who trained him in martial arts. When Ricky tries to prove himself, the master defeats him effortlessly, reminding him that strength is not just about power, but control. Ricky falls to his knees, determined, promising that he will overcome every weakness, no matter how long it takes. From that day, his training begins. His master teaches him that before strength comes, control of the mind, and before victory comes, the removal of anger and hatred. A stone is placed before him, and he is told to focus completely and break it. Ricky centers himself and tears through it with pure control. Then more stones rain down, and he destroys them one by one like a force that cannot be stopped. Finally, the master throws a massive stone directly at him, pushing him to his limit. Through pain and discipline, Ricky becomes something far beyond ordinary, someone shaped by both loss and relentless training. The story returns to the present, where Ricky has not slept the entire night. In the morning, the guards drag him to the assistant warden's office. Inside, the table is filled with food, and the warden himself sits there with a disturbing presence. One artificial eye and a severed hand replaced by a sharp hook. Cyclops begins reading Ricky's report aloud. According to the file, Ricky grew up without parents, raised in an orphanage, and expelled from school because of his violent nature. Later, he studied music and learned to play the flute, but even that peaceful path couldn't stop his descent. He joined a gang at a young age and eventually took a man's life, which led him here. Every prisoner is required to disclose their entire past before entering. Yet, Ricky's report is missing 2 years of his life. Cyclops demands answers, asking where he was and what he did during that time. Despite threats and pressure, Ricky remains completely silent. The warden confronts Ricky directly, demanding to know how he survived 5 bullets to the chest. Ricky simply smiles and remains silent. Frustrated, finally, the warden shows him a letter that someone had sent for him. As Ricky steps forward to take it, the warden suddenly drives his sharp hook into Ricky's hand and begins raining punches on him, hitting him again and again, trying to force him to speak. But Ricky endures every blow without giving him what he wants. Inside the letter is a photograph which the warden crushes and tears apart with his own hands. The sight ignites an uncontrollable rage within Ricky. With sheer force, he splits the table into 2 pieces. Enraged, the warden fires a gun at him, but Ricky deflects the bullet with his bare hand. He could have killed the warden right there, but he chooses not to. Instead, he gives him one final warning before walking away. Later, alone in his cell, Ricky finds a moment of peace by playing the flute, the same melody he once shared with his friend. But even that small comfort is taken away when a guard storms in and warns him never to play it again, threatening to destroy it if he does. The next day, tension rises again as prisoners surround one of Samuel's men, seeking revenge for Wing's death. They are ready to end him, but Narumi steps in and stops them, warning that killing him will only bring harsher punishment. One prisoner, Wong, refuses to accept this, questioning Narumi's authority and accusing him of silence when they were suffering. Angered, Narumi takes a blade and strikes him down without hesitation, silencing him forever. The warden watches with satisfaction, later ordering Narumi to do the same to Ricky. Though he knows Ricky is far more dangerous, Narumi has no choice but to obey. Soon after, Narumi displays Wong's body publicly, hanging it to spread fear among the prisoners. Ricky watches this, silently, his expression darkening as the weight of everything builds inside him. And in that moment, Narumi makes his move, launching an attack toward Ricky. The air turns heavy as the two face each other and without another word, a brutal fight begins. As Narumi launches himself at Ricky, striking with everything he has. In a sudden move, he throws crushed glass straight into Ricky's eyes, blinding him instantly. Darkness takes over, and Ricky can no longer see anything. Taking full advantage, Narumi drives a blade into his armpit, forcing Ricky to the ground. For a moment, it seems like the fight is over, but Ricky, even in blindness, senses something nearby. He reaches out, finds a water pipeline and smashes it open. Water bursts out violently and he immediately washes his eyes. Moment his vision returns, something changes. His calm disappears, replaced by something far more dangerous. Ricky rises like a storm and attacks Narumi without hesitation. His movements are faster, sharper, unstoppable. With a single strike, he hits Narumi so hard that one of his eyes bursts out, falling like a marble onto the ground. The warden arrives at that exact moment, watching in shock as the situation spirals out of control. Narumi, now desperate, pretends to surrender. But as Ricky steps closer, he suddenly stabs himself and pulls out his own intestines, wrapping them around Ricky's neck in a final attempt to drag him down. For a second, it looks like Ricky is trapped, but then, with sheer force, Ricky lifts him off the ground and delivers a devastating blow to his head, crushing it completely and ending him on the spot. Silence spreads across the prison. Ricky then walks toward Wong's body and gently brings it down. The prisoners gather trying to lift him, but it is already too late. Wong is gone. Seeing this, Ricky's voice finally breaks through the silence as he tells everyone that the real cause behind the suffering is the warden. His words ignite something inside the prisoners, and suddenly, they rush forward like a storm, ready to take revenge. But before they can reach him, a terrifying force stops them. One prisoner is caught and destroyed instantly, leaving everyone frozen in fear. At that moment, three powerful figures reveal themselves, the remaining rulers of the prison blocks. The first is Chong, a woman with unbelievable speed, moving like a shadow from one place to another. The second is Katama, and the third is Brandon, both equally feared for their strength. With Narumi gone, only these three remain. The warden steps forward and challenges Ricky, telling him that if he truly has the strength, he should defeat them. The prisoners around Ricky urge him to fight, to finish everything here and now. But Ricky says nothing. Instead, he quietly lifts Wong's body and walks away, choosing silence over chaos. Seeing his strength, the warden offers Ricky something unexpected. He asks him to become the new leader of the North Block to take Narumi's place, calling him the strongest prisoner he has ever seen. But Ricky refuses without a word. He has no interest in becoming part of this broken system. No desire to serve under someone like the warden. Inside, he is changing. The weight of everything that has happened, the loss, the pain begins to settle deep within him. He is no longer just fighting for survival. Something more personal is growing inside him. Later, Ricky notices a young prisoner trying to play a tune using a leaf, failing again and again. Ricky quietly sits beside him and shows him how to do it. For a brief moment, the harsh world around them fades, replaced by something soft and human. In return, the boy gives Ricky some cards, but Ricky immediately senses something wrong. These cards are used for making drugs, and he realizes that someone inside the prison is running this trade. The boy reveals that they came from the West Block. Watching from above is Chong, the leader of that block, who has been controlling this operation. Without hesitation, Chong eliminates the boy and leaves his body where everyone can see it. Fear spreads instantly among the prisoners. When Ricky learns what happened, he rushes to the scene and finds the boy lifeless. The flute he gave him lying beside him. That moment breaks something inside Ricky. Grief turns into anger and anger into destruction. He burns the entire garden, reducing everything to ashes. When Chong arrives and sees her world destroyed, her anger explodes. Ricky faces her with cold intensity, promising that just as she took his friend, he will make her pay. The fight begins instantly. Chong moves like a bullet, striking Ricky with incredible speed and sending him crashing into a wall. At the same time, chaos spreads across the prison as the fire grows. The prisoners seize this moment and begin running for freedom, rushing through the building in a desperate attempt to escape. The warden learns of this and is furious. While news arrives that the higher authority will inspect the prison the next day, putting everyone under pressure. In the middle of all this chaos, Ricky feels his strength fading for the first time. But then a memory returns. His master's voice reminding him that the moment you feel like you are about to lose is the moment you must never give up. But before he can act, Brandon suddenly arrives. With terrifying precision, he launches ropes toward Ricky, each one carrying sharp nails at the ends. The ropes wrap around Ricky's body again and again, piercing into him and locking him in place. Before Ricky can free himself, Kitama appears and grabs him, ready to finish him once and for all. Just as Kitama prepares to deliver the final blow, a loud alarm echoes through the prison, ordering all inmates back to their cells or face being shot. But Kitama ignores the warning completely, driven by his desire for revenge. Guards open fire without hesitation, bullets raining down, forcing chaos to erupt as everyone scatters. In the middle of this confusion, Kitama drags Ricky into a cell. The moment they enter, the doors slam shut and cement begins pouring in from both sides, slowly sealing them. Inside, it is the warden's trap designed to end Ricky's life without leaving any trace. But Ricky refuses to die like this. With immense strength, he shatters the barrier and breaks the door open, escaping the trap. Not only that, he pulls Katama out with him, saving his life despite everything. The warden watching from afar is shocked, unable to understand why Ricky would save someone who was trying to kill him. Both Ricky and Katama collapse from the pressure and injuries, barely holding on. Meanwhile, The warden orders his guards to erase all evidence before the higher authority arrives, planning to deal with Ricky afterward. The next day, tension fills the prison as everyone waits for the main warden to arrive. Hours pass and hope begins to fade until finally a car appears in the distance. The warden arrives with his son and immediately learns about Ricky destroying the narcotic fields. Furious, he demands to see him. Ricky, still trapped behind cement barriers, suddenly breaks through them and grabs the warden by the throat. But before he can finish him, kdrama attacks again, pinning Ricky against iron bars and striking him repeatedly with brutal force. Despite being saved by Ricky earlier, kdrama shows no mercy, driven by his own rage. Blow after blow lands on Ricky's back until the situation turns again. Ricky counters with a powerful strike, destroying kdrama's hands and ending him. At that moment, the warden activates a hydraulic press above Ricky, bringing it down to crush him. Ricky struggles to stop it, but an electric shock knocks him down. The press descends rapidly, but suddenly it stops. Kdrama, barely alive, holds it back, choosing to repay Ricky for saving him earlier. Ricky escapes, but kdrama, too injured to move, is crushed as the press falls. Seeing a photo of kdrama with his mother, Ricky's anger explodes. The warden, realizing he cannot control him, activates another trap, sending Ricky falling into a deep pit. There, Ricky is chained, and the warden orders all prisoners to throw mud over him. When a few refuse, they are shot immediately, forcing the rest to obey out of fear. The pit fills slowly, burying Ricky alive, leaving only a bamboo pipe for him to breathe through. The warden cruelly promises that if he survives the entire day, he will be set free. As night falls, Ricky's allies are left in shock, believing he may not survive. Meanwhile, the remaining block leaders secretly attempt to finish him by blocking the bamboo, cutting off his air supply. At the same time, chaos continues elsewhere as revenge and betrayal unfold among the prisoners. In the darkness beneath the ground, buried under layers of mud, Ricky struggles to stay alive, his body pushed to its absolute limit. The story then shifts into a painful flashback. We see Ricky's girlfriend, Ko. One day, while returning from the library, she notices a group of men using drugs. Frightened, she tries to run away, but they catch her and drag her into a hotel. They intend to violate and kill her. When Ko regains consciousness, she manages to escape, but overwhelmed by fear and trauma, she jumps from the rooftop, ending her life. When Ricky learns about this, rage consumes him. He tracks down the drug dealer responsible. The man fires multiple bullets at him, but Ricky keeps moving forward, enduring every shot until he finally kills him. That act becomes the reason for his 10-year sentence. Back in the present, 7 days have passed. It is time to dig Ricky out. Using heavy machinery, the warden personally oversees the excavation. When they finally pull Ricky out, they check his pulse and to their shock, he is still alive. The warden realizes that Ricky is no ordinary human. Instead of killing him immediately, he begins to think that having Ricky on his side could be more beneficial. Ricky is locked up again, and when the warden reviews his file, he notices missing details. He questions Ricky, demanding to know what he is hiding, threatening him with death if he refuses to speak. But even after intense torture, Ricky says nothing. The warden approaches him, curious and disturbed, demanding to know what kind of power allows him to survive even being buried alive without air. Ricky says nothing. Chong understands that pain alone will not break him. She crushes blades into powder and forces them into Ricky's mouth, then slaps him repeatedly, tearing his mouth apart from the inside. Blood pours out, but Ricky endures it all, refusing to give in. Enraged, the warden orders Ricky to be thrown back into an empty cell. Later that day, a prisoner secretly risks his life to bring Ricky food, offering him a small act of humanity in a place filled with cruelty. But before he can leave safely, he is caught by one of Narumi's former followers and dragged away. The warden kills the prisoner and drags his lifeless body toward Ricky's cell. But when he looks inside, Ricky is gone. Only chains remain. For a brief second, confusion takes over until suddenly it is revealed that Ricky is clinging silently to the ceiling. The moment the warden steps inside, Ricky drops behind him. When Ricky sees the dead prisoner, something inside him snaps again. The warden panics and runs, but as soon as he steps outside, the prisoners surround him, and chaos explodes across the prison. Guards and prisoners clash violently, turning the entire place into a battlefield. At the same time, the warden continues his inspection, unaware of the full chaos spreading around him. When one prisoner speaks against him, the warden brutally cuts off his arm without hesitation, sending a clear message to everyone. But then Ricky arrives. The warden immediately fires at him, but Ricky uses Cyborg as a shield and the bullets tear through Cyborg instead, detonating within him. Now alone, Ricky stands against all of them. At that moment, The female block leader arrives and attacks Ricky while Brandon strikes him again with sharp nails, throwing him into boiling water. Yet, even through all of this, Ricky rises again. Now, face to face, Ricky and the warden stand against each other. Now, the battlefield has narrowed and everything is about to reach its final, inevitable conclusion. Now the final confrontation begins. Ricky and the warden stand face to face. Without hesitation, Ricky throws a single punch that sends the warden flying across the room. But something is wrong. The warden's body starts shaking, transforming into something monstrous. It is revealed that just like Ricky, he too possesses a terrifying power, turning him into a giant, dangerous creature. The monster overwhelms Ricky at first, striking him down again and again. But Ricky doesn't rely on strength alone. Using his mind, he finds his chance, lifts the creature, and throws him straight into a massive grinder. With all his strength, he forces him inside, crushing him completely until nothing remains but fragments. Ricky stands there, breathing heavily, holding what is left of the warden. Meanwhile, the chaos continues as prisoners and guards fight all around. Then Ricky steps forward and raises the warden's severed head, showing everyone that it is finally over. Silence spreads. He tells them that they are free, and in that moment, everything changes. Ricky throws the head aside, runs forward and with one final act breaks through the prison wall itself. The barrier that held them all captive shatters, and one by one, the prisoners step into freedom, and just like that, the story reaches its end. Today's story ends here, but our journey doesn't end here, my beloved viewers. So, how was today's story? Until the next drama, you can watch the playlist I've put on your screen. I know you're going to like it, and if you enjoyed this video, like and a subscribe really help the channel grow. Take care of yourself and I'll see you in the next one.